main theme of this course, learning of expertise. And we have Kaisa Pihlaja here, who is doing her master's thesis about expertise. And she is going to give this first lecture.
Yeah. Hello all, I'm Kaisa. I'm from Finland and I'm a second year student in the LED Master Degree program. And as Venla said, I was probably asked to do this lecture because I'm doing my thesis on expertise. And consequently, I've been reading quite a lot about this subject lately. So here's today's lecture content. First, we are going to talk or try to define what is expertise, and then move on to discover what expertise studies have discovered about the features of experts and expertise. Then move on to acquiring or learning expertise. I have some small exercises for you to get you activated as well at some point, but they're really small and simple, so no worries about those. And let's see if halfway through we need to have a small break, 10 minutes or so. But to start off, I would like you to think about what you think about experts and expertise. So individually, I would like you to think about maybe 1 to 3 people who you think are experts and what they are experts at. And why do you think they are experts? So I would like you to spend 5 minutes on your own, write down on paper, on your laptop or phone, what do you think? Who do you think are experts? Name a couple and why they are experts. I have here some pencils and paper if you need. You don't need to present anything. This is just to get your mind directed to what do you now think are experts and what is expertise.
What is expertise?
Or who do you think are experts? So you can do the task solo. Think about a couple of people who you think are experts, and then write down why do you think they are experts. You can do it all solo, and we will return to the issue at the end of the lecture. You don't have to present anything now. Does someone need paper or pen? Sounds like that. Someone need paper, pen? Make some notes.
Yeah, it's pretty. No.
If you try to consider people from your family or maybe from your studies or maybe some famous people, just try to think a couple of names of people who you think are experts. And then try to think why they are experts. Why do you consider they are experts?
Do you mean from the teachers?
Sorry?
Do you mean from the teachers or?
Or whoever. It can be someone in your family member, some famous people or some teacher. Who do you think is an expert? A person can be expert in any area of life.
I'm thinking about this class.
more minutes or no? Done? Yeah. And the idea of this exercise was just to direct your thoughts to experts and expertise and what is your current understanding of it. Keep your notes and we will return to those at the end of the lecture and see if your perception of expertise has maybe changed during this lecture. But to defining who is an expert, there's no single or straightforward definition of expertise or experts. But in common understanding, experts are often considered as people who have extensive knowledge and skills in a certain domain. And this is something that distinguishes experts from novices or less experienced people. The term expertise can have different social and evaluative connotations that have built up from common experiences from people who have been labeled as experts. So expertise can be commonly bound up with notions such as talent, skill, specialization, age, etc. But these are more of stereotypical views of experts or expertise. They may have some empirical validity to them, but they not necessarily are not the essential part of being an expert. Reiter and Skard-Amalia say that expertise is easiest to identify when it differs most dramatically from what ordinary people can do.
Can I ask what the word male means? What exactly it means? How do you define male means?
Maleness. Male. Maybe males are considered to be expert in many cases. But there are also women experts. Yeah.
Just because they are males, they're considered experts? Is that what you mean?
Yeah. That can be. That some people consider that most experts are usually men. But this is like the very stereotypical view of expertise. This doesn't mean that all experts would be male and perhaps quite old and very experienced or have been highly educated. These are more stereotypes. But as I said in the first paragraph, that experts are considered as people who have extensive knowledge and skills in a certain domain. According to research, there's little evidence that the person who is skilled at one domain could transfer the skills to another. So this is why expertise is considered as being highly domain specific. And on the right-hand side column, you can see different areas or domains of expertise that have been studied. So from medicine and surgery to wine expertise. So the domains of expertise can vary a lot, and they can be formal and also informal. I inserted here a picture of a bird. What do you think? Are birds experts in flying? What are your first thoughts? Mm-hmm.
No.
Why no?
Does every bird can fly?
Exactly.
Is there any bird who doesn't fly? Well, their birds biologically, their biological structure doesn't qualify them to fly. But the ones who are biologically qualified, they're flying almost the same capacity, except that the ones who are not flying the same capacity might have physical problem and illness. So in this case, it's kind of natural, normal thing to fly in this capacity.
And it also doesn't require knowledge. It doesn't require knowledge to learn flying.
Yeah, it's an inbuilt ability, and all birds can fly. As Berg and Skard-Amalia here say that expertise is easiest to identify when it differs what others can do. And to move on to understanding expertise more deeply, I've added here a quote from Bransford, Brown and Keating, so I'll let you read it through first. Okay, so experts do not only have a vast amount of information from a certain domain, they are also able to apply it and use it.
Sorry, I have a question.
Yeah.
For example, comparing to my peers, I am not considered an expert, for example, in the same field that we all study. So how if I, for example, move to another place or meet other people who have less knowledge than my peers? So do I consider expert compared to those people or not?
Yes, you can be considered as expert compared to those who are less knowledgeable. I will come back to this issue a little bit later on my lecture, but this is related to expertise being sort of a scale of proficiency. But let's look at that issue more later on. Okay, but what expert studies have found about expertise? We discussed the stereotypical views of expertise, and expert studies try to or aim at seeing expertise beyond those stereotypes. So they seek to understand what lies beyond expert performance, and as well how expertise is achieved. The expert studies, they have a long history from at least from the 50s or if not even earlier. And they have been traditionally focused on individual expertise, and they have studied how these exceptional people perform on limited domains. There have been two research traditions. The other is absolute approach, and in absolute approach they studied these exceptional people and tried to understand why they are superior in their performance in certain domain. Whereas the relative approach studied the differences between experts and novices and tried to understand the differences between them and the reasons behind the differences. But the main difference between the absolute and relative approach was that the objective in relative studies was to understand how the experts had become that way, so others could learn from that and become more skilled and knowledgeable.
Excuse me, I got to question the previous one. Is there like the definition seeks to understand what's beyond expert performance as well as how expertise is achieved? So is there anything about the criteria, like based on what they're look at or consider expertise, and also who can tell the person who's making that decision to classify this person as expertise? So is this part of the research? Who can tell and based on what criteria?
Yes.
Or it's not in the research?
Probably there have been some criteria for choosing the experts. So some of the early expert studies have studied chess masters, for example, who exhibit brilliant performance in playing chess, for example, to the less experienced chess players.
So compared to the less experienced,
Yes.
that's the sole criteria.
Probably that is not the sole criteria. Probably there are other criteria as well, but I'm not sure what exactly are the criteria that has been used in different studies. Probably it depends on the study and what they have chosen to be the criteria for choosing who is an expert and who is not. Probably it has to do with their performance, their high performance, and they are regarded as experts by other people, by their peers, and these kinds of issues. Yeah. Yeah. So the relative approach sees expertise as a level of proficiency. That is something that the novices can also achieve. So this means that expertise is something that can be learned. So presumably a more skilled person has become an expert-like from having acquired knowledge through learning and studying and deliberate practice. So the definition of expertise in relativist approach is more relative in a sense that the more knowledgeable group of people can be considered as experts and less knowledgeable group as novices. And I will show you a proficiency scale by G that has been adapted from Hoffman. So as they see that expertise is something that can be learned, so this is like a pathway to expertise. You start off of being a novice, new to some domain, and maybe have some minimal exposure to it. And gradually, by learning, practicing, deliberate practice, you proceed towards expertise. So in this scale, novices, initiates, apprentices, and journeymen can be considered novices or less knowledgeable people compared to experts or masters who are considered to be the experts. So you start off being a novice and gradually move on to being perhaps a journeyman who is an experienced, reliable, and independent worker under orders. You are motivated, but you may remain at this level, so something extra is needed for you to move on to being an expert or master in a domain. But I will come back to this issue later on. So what is the extra that is needed to become an expert? So far we have considered that expertise or experts are a person who have a lot of knowledge and skill in some domain, but merely knowledge and experience is not enough. So in addition to this, compared to novices, according to research, experts have better skills in analyzing problems, organizing knowledge in memories, representing problems in more abstract terms and at a deeper level, self-monitoring, so self-regulation, and searching new knowledge. So merely knowledge and experience is not enough. You need different skills. She has defined in her article different areas where experts can excel compared to novices or less experienced people. Experts can excel in generating the best, finding the best solution, finding a best solution for a problem case, or finding the best move in a game of chess. They also excel in detection and recognition, so they see features in situational problems that the novices cannot. So they kind of see the deep structure of a problem or a new situation. Qualitative analysis, they analyze problems and develop problem representations. So compared to novices, experts do not jump to easy conclusions based on the surface features of a problem or a new situation. So experts build the analysis of a situation or a problem by adding many domain-specific or general constraints to the problem. monitoring and reflecting. They have good monitoring, self-monitoring and predicting skills. So they are aware of their own comprehension, when it is enough or when it's not enough and they need more information. Compared to novices, experts excel in use of strategies. They use the best and effective strategies in a given situation. So they are more successful in choosing a right strategy to solve a problem. They are opportunistic. They can use whatever source of information is available to them. And cognitive effort, they can retrieve relevant domain knowledge with minimal cognitive effort. So they are fluent, if not even automatic, in retrieving knowledge that they possess. But experts are human as well. They can make mistakes as well. And she has described features in which experts may fall short. Experts can be quite domain limited, so they do not have necessary information about other domains, so they are not able to transfer their skill and knowledge from their domain to another that they are not experienced in. They can be overly confident, so they can miscalibrate their capabilities. Glossing over means that sometimes they do overlook details that might be important in the problem-solving case. Context dependent within a domain. So sometimes they might rely too much for contextual cues. For example, in a medical domain, experts, when making a diagnosis of a disease, they may have some tacit knowledge about the enabling conditions like the age of the patient or sex or previous diseases. And they might use this information and make a wrong diagnosis. Inflexible, inaccurate prediction, judgment, advice. So sometimes the experts cannot always take the perspective of a novice and explain or teach a novice about their domain. Also, they can be biased and functional fixedness. So they analyze problems in other domains through the principles of their own domain, and that might not be always the best way to go about a problem.
I have a question.
Yeah.
I read that the experts might be bad educators. So where do they use these experts their knowledge if they cannot transfer their knowledge to others? So how come in the research field or in which field do they use their expertise if they cannot transfer it back to others or to educate others?
Yeah. That's true that experts are sometimes so deep into their domain that it's hard for them to try to look at things from the novice's side and transfer information to them or teach them. But I guess that depends on the type of a person, and also I can show you the proficiency scale. So expert compared to master. Master is someone who can qualify to teach others, those at the lower level. So some experts might be incapable of teaching others and transferring knowledge to others. But in Chi's proficiency scale, masters are experts who are qualified to teach others.
This is something we're going to discuss a week from now when we are talking about professional expertise of a teacher, about pedagogical knowledge, pedagogical content knowledge, and so on. So even though you might have the content knowledge, you don't have the pedagogical content knowledge. How you can actually teach the things to others.
Yeah.
I also think that if those experts cannot teach their knowledge and skills, they also can find, I mean, they're also used in areas of consultation, consultancy, evaluation, testing, and management areas where, let's say, in a professional level, companies hire them to do some other jobs, not necessarily to teach what
Yeah,
they know.
yeah.
So there are lots of areas they can contribute to.
Yeah, of course.
Of
Yeah,
course,
of course.
yeah.
Not everyone has to teach.
Yeah.
Or even work with novices in that field.
And also there is the thing that tacit knowledge cannot be transferred. You can transfer like explicit knowledge, you can teach knowledge, but experience you cannot teach, it's difficult.
Well, at least it's difficult.
Yeah.
But you can.
That's why expertise is a knowledge that you gain through experience. That's why you cannot transfer it easily.
And sometimes they're not conscious of their skills.
Yes, that's true. Because it's sort of their deep structure, and they're not aware of their knowledge and their skills.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's absolutely true. Yeah. Okay. So, not all experts are alike. So different types of experts or expertise. Pihlaja and Skadamaria have defined experienced non-experts. So you can gather a lot of knowledge and a lot of experience, but that does not necessarily make you an expert. So for example, career-wise, you can gather a lot of experience, but conform merely to routines and performing those routines. So these performing those routines does not advance your expertise or your problem-solving skills. Hatano and Inagaki make a difference between skilled experts and adaptive experts. Skilled experts have learned a set of well-known and highly routinized tasks, and they can be very complex and sophisticated, and the skilled experts have become very skilled at applying them. So everyday skills and routines are developed in familiar environments and with familiar tasks. Routine experts can become very skilled in performing those routines and develop their accuracy and fluency in doing those. Compared to skilled experts, adaptive experts are people who are able to abandon those routines and routine ways of solving problems. Compared to skilled experts, they are considered to be more flexible, inventive, spontaneous, and creative. So adaptive experts are able to deal with new situations or novel problems and build their knowledge in solving those problems. So adaptive experts increase their competence by going beyond their comfort zone. They are not merely performing routines and are not perhaps happy about performing routines, so they want to go further. They want to go beyond their comfort zone to embrace new situations and novel problems. Pihlaja and Skadamaria have defined also expert-like learners. So they resemble experts in a way they are trying to do things or how they approach new or novel problems. I would invite you to form small groups, maybe 3-4 people, just small enough so everybody gets a chance to speak their minds in the group. So think about 2 teachers. The other is a skilled expert and the other is an adaptive expert. So think together, what do you think happens during years or tens of years when they teach? What happens to their teaching? How does it change? Do the students learn? and the teachers themselves learn. Let's take 10 or 15 minutes to this task, and then we can discuss jointly what you think about this. So what happens to the adaptive experts teaching?
You can see that we are also trying to react
But the adaptive teacher, I think, learns
Hi friends.
Hey, do you need more time or would you like to share your group's thoughts about these issues?
We can share.
Yeah,
It is so usually.
you can start. What do you think about the questions I have? What happens to the teachers during their career?
Okay. We discussed the topic together, but I will provide my answer and then you can provide your answer. When it comes to the student side, I said we cannot tell because students and learners can learn from both teachers either ways because students and learners might have their own skills and self-regulation that help them learn. But we will talk about the teacher side. The first one, the skilled one, after 10 years, they're running into their routine and their kind of familiar environment and their normal skills. So they will not be kind of challenging themselves and taking in new enterprises and new skills and new methods like ICT. But the second type of teacher is the adaptive skilled, let's say adaptive experts, will be challenging themselves, going beyond their comfort zone, beyond their routine, beyond they're spontaneous and creative. They want to try new methods. So they might find a new idea of teaching, let's say online. They would go and try and test it and see if it gives them results. So we expect that the adaptive teachers will develop more after, let's say, 10 years of practice, while the skilled experts teachers will stay in their area of expertise and will not go beyond this.
Okay.
So there is little development for them.
Yeah.
And on the other hand, the skilled experts are more stable than the adaptive ones. The adaptive ones want to go beyond what's new, what's next.
Yeah.
I get confused. The skilled ones will be stable after 10 or 15 years, will remain in their job for, let's say, for as long as they are. And it's hard for them to try new methods of teaching, for example, using tablets, unless they are forced by the school administrator or they have to go through a training to do that, to learn. So that,
Yeah.
teacher side, expert side.
Yeah. True. Some other thoughts?
Maybe our group will add something. Would you like to explain?
Okay. We think adaptive teachers are more eager to deal with the new problems, but he should not stop at the adaptive level. He needs to be more skilled.
Adaptiveness is very, we found it provides more opportunities. For example, tomorrow there can be new technology, and then if you are adapted, you are prone to learning. But the problem, the risk is that if you do it frequently, you will stay at a surface level. The goal would be, the final goal would be, it's good if the next goal is to go profound into the skill. Because compared with the skilled expert, for example, how to explain that? I learned about, for example, collaborative learning. And then as a teacher, I say I want to use that concept in my class, but I'm not skilled what type of methods are there, but I just know about the idea, this is good, and I use it in class, which is good. But the goal would be, if I'm willing to progress further to obtain the skills and methods of that field, but not just using the new concepts.
Yeah. So you can try using collaborative learning in the class and then see what happens, how did the kids perform, and what you thought of it. And then you can go further, maybe change something in collaborative learning and try changing something and trying again and going deeper into collaborative learning that way.
Yeah.
By the way, can somebody be both skill expert and adaptive expert?
Probably there are different features to skilled and adaptive experts. I can actually show you this at this point. So adaptive experts compared to skilled experts are a little bit different in their learning and in their problem solving. So there are different features to adaptive and skilled experts. So adaptive experts are considered the successful learners who are able to learn throughout their lifetimes. But skilled experts can also learn, but that probably they just become more skilled at what they are doing, the familiar thing. Adaptive experts are more prepared to learn from new situations and new challenges compared to the skilled experts. And they are also able to self-assess and judge their current level of understanding. Is it adequate, or do they perhaps need more information? They are also willing to replace prior assumption with new information if necessary. And when confronting contradictory ideas or feedback from persons who may share the similar views, they are able to learn from those situations. They are also able to regulate their learning process metacognitively. And in problem-solving cases, adaptive experts are flexible and adaptive to new problems, whereas skilled experts might not be so willing to face new kinds of problems or new situations. For example, in Finland, there's a curriculum reform coming next year. So it may be quite challenging and perhaps even scary for teachers who tend to be more of skilled experts, whereas those adaptive experts may enjoy the changes and new challenges. And in problem-solving cases, adaptive experts are able to apply the learned procedures flexibly and creatively to new situations and problems. And they tolerate ambiguity. So they go beyond the obvious problem and seek deeper understanding and solving problems on a higher level. And they also learn from the problem-solving cases or processes. Do you want to have a small break here, or do we continue? Do you need 10 minutes just to get some fresh air?
Yes.
Okay, let's have a small break and continue. 15 past. Is that okay? 15 past and we'll be back. You're not adapting right now. This is